Hi, 6th grade. Happy Wednesday. For you, it is May 13th already. Hard to believe. We're just zooming through this last few weeks of school. Just as a reminder, you've probably already gotten tired of me saying this over the course of the past 2 or 3 days, but we're reading Watership Down together. I'm actually reading it out loud as you follow along and carefully annotate. Don't forget that at the end of every chapter, you're going to be doing those bullet points of the chapter summary, because that's what you're going to be turning in instead of review questions like the previous book. So those summary bullet points will kind of be your proof to me that you've done the reading this week, and those obviously are due at the very end of the week or whenever you finish the reading. I'll accept that at either time. Obviously, the hard deadline is Friday at 4 p.m. That's when everything should be submitted, but feel free to get those into me on a rolling basis. It might be a little easier for me if you wait till you've done all of the chapters and all the chapter summaries for this week, chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. That way I don't have to download a lot of different homework drops for each chapter or get a lot of different emails for each chapter. So you can just wait till you have images of your annotations in the book, those bullet points, and then go ahead and submit those to me in whichever way you choose. Just as a reminder, it's been up on RenWeb in a pretty familiar written instruction, but your writing for this week is to head over to your No Red Ink account. And these last 4 weeks of school, I want you to dig into your memory and come up with some of your favorite stories and memories of your time at Dominion. Whether that be in 6th grade, if this is your first year here with us, or the last few years, or even farther back if you've been a Dominion lifer so far. You're going to have 4 weeks of these prompts, so maybe brainstorm several of them because you're not going to be doing just one. Obviously be creative, be specific, tell me a well-written story. The instructions are in RenWeb and in No Red Ink, so you shouldn't have much trouble with that. But tell it to me through your eyes. Be really specific. Don't just tell me a story that will sound like anyone else's, and put your unique spin on things. Today is Wednesday, so we're reading chapter 3 of Watership Down together, which I may have already gone over. The last 2 minutes and 30 seconds have kind of zoomed through my brain already. But tune in to the rest of this video. Maybe pause now if you need to go grab your book, and I'll be reading Watership Down, Chapter 3. Read along with me. Watership Down, Chapter 3. Hazel's Decision. Epigraph from the Anabasis by Xenophon. What am I lying here for? We are lying here as though we had a chance of enjoying a quiet time. Am I waiting until I become a little older? But Hazel, you didn't really think the Chief Rabbit would act on your advice, did you? What were you expecting? It was evening once more, and Hazel and Fiver were feeding outside the wood with 2 friends. Blackberry, the rabbit, with tipped ears, who had been startled by Fiver the night before, and had listened carefully to Hazel's description of the notice board, remarking that he had always felt sure that men left these things about to act as signs or messages of some kind. And in the same way, the rabbits left marks or runs on gaps. It was another neighbor, Dandelion, who had now brought the talk back to the Friara and his indifference to Fiver's fear. I don't know what I expected, said Hazel. I had never been near the Chief Rabbit before, but I thought, well, even if he won't listen, at least no one could say afterward that we didn't do our best to warn him. You're sure, then, that there's really something to be afraid of? I'm quite certain. I've always known Fiver, you see. Blackberry was about to reply when another rabbit came noisily through the thick dog's mercury in the wood, blundered down into the brambles, and pushed his way up from the ditch. It was Bigwig. Hello, Bigwig, said Hazel. You're off duty? Off duty, said Bigwig, and likely to remain off duty. What do you mean? I've left the Outslaw, that's what I mean. Not on our account. You could say that. The Friara's rather good at making himself unpleasant when he's been woken up at Nyfrith for what he considers a piece of trivial nonsense. He certainly knows how to get under your skin. I dare say a good many rabbits would have kept quiet and thought about keeping on the right side of the chief, but I'm afraid I'm not much good at that. I told him that the Owsla's privileges didn't mean all that much to me in any case, and that a strong rabbit could always do just as well by leaving the warren. He told me not to be so impulsive and think it over, but I shan't stay. Lettuce stealing isn't my idea of a jolly life, nor sentry duty in the burrow. I'm in a fine temper, I can tell you.
No one will steal lettuces soon, said Fiver quietly.
Oh, that's you, Fiver, is it? Said Bigwig, noticing him for the first time. Good, I was coming to look for you. I've been thinking about what you told the Chief Rabbit. Tell me, is it a sort of tremendous hoax to make yourself important, or is it true?
It is true, said Fiver. I wish it weren't.
Then you'll be leaving the warren?
They were all startled by the bluntness with which Bigwig went to the point.
Dandelion muttered, "Leave the warren! Frithruh!" while Blackberry twitched his ears and looked very intently, first at Bigwig, then at Hazel.
It was Hazel who replied. Fiver and I will be leaving the warren tonight, he said deliberately. I don't know exactly where we shall go, but we'll take anyone who's ready to come with us.
Right, said Bigwig. Then you can take me. The last thing Hazel had expected was the immediate support of a member of the Owsla. It crossed his mind that although Bigwig would certainly be a useful rabbit in a tight corner, he would also be a difficult one to get on with. He certainly would not want to do what he was told or even asked by an outskirter. I don't care if he is in the Owsla, thought Hazel. If we get away from the warren, I'm not going to let Bigwig run everything, or why bother to go? But he answered only, Good, we shall be glad to have you. He looked around at the other rabbits who were all staring either at Bigwig or at himself. It was Blackberry who spoke next. I think I'll come, he said. I don't know quite whether it's you who persuaded me, Fiver, but anyway, there are too many bucks in this warren, and it's pretty poor fun for any rabbit that's not in the Owsla. The funny thing is that you feel terrified to stay, and I feel terrified to go. Foxes here, weasels there, Fiver in the middle, begone dull care. He pulled out a burnet leaf and ate it slowly, concealing his fear as best he could, for all his instincts were warning him of the dangers in the unknown country beyond the warren. If we believe Fiver, said Hazel, it means that we think no rabbits at all ought to stay here. So between now and the time when we go, we ought to persuade as many as we can to join us. I think there are one or two in the Owsla who might be worth sounding, said Bigwig. If I can talk them over, they'll be with me when I join you tonight. But they won't come because of Fiver. They'll be juniors, discontented fellows like me. You need to have heard Fiver yourself to be convinced by him. He's convinced me. It's obvious that he's been sent some kind of message, and I believe in these things. I can't think why he didn't convince the Threara. Because the Threara doesn't like anything he hasn't thought of for himself, answered Hazel. But we can't bother with him any more now. We've got to try to collect some more rabbits and meet again here, Fuinlay. We'll start Fuinlay, too. We can't wait longer. The danger's coming closer all the time, whatever it is. And besides, the Threara isn't going to like it if he finds out that you've been trying to get at rabbits in the Owsla, Bigwig. Neither is Captain Holly, I dare say. They won't mind odds and ends like us clearing off, but they won't want to lose you. If I were in your place, I'd be careful whom I pick to talk to. End of chapter 3.